Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Akma Iman. So today I would like to cover about a book titled Actionable-Gamification Beyond Points, Badges and Leaderboard, written by Chou. This book tells how the gamification principle and element not only can be used in a platform such as video game, but also can be applied in many aspects of people's daily life. There are many chapters in the book, but the specific point that I like to share is from chapter 12, the 8th core drive, loss and avoidance. This core drive is the last core from the core listed in the book. This core drive, which is about loss and avoidance, motivate people or users through the fear of losing something or having undesirable events transpire. So first point is the ultimate loss versus executable loss. The way users respond to the loss and avoidance is generally proportional to how much they have already invested into the experience. The strategy to implement this core is developers should offer the threat of a larger setback, the ultimate loss, and implement them if a small marginal setback, which is an executable loss, to emotionally train the user in taking the ultimate loss more seriously. For example, give a life count for the player. If get killed, one life had been removed. Player emotionally ready and knew if he will lose and start over the game if all life he had is gone. So ultimate loss will as a black hat motivational tool, which is a kind of a not positive impact to the user, but still motivate people to play the game because of the losing. The executable loss should not more than 30% of what the user has already invested, which is his time and his resources, or ideally not more than 15%. This small loss percentage is enough to motivate user to take activities seriously. For example, in One Punch Man, the game, the strongest, if user not collected the free stamina within the specific time, the stamina will need to be purchased using a small amount of a diamond, which is a very valuable currency in the game. So this loss of a diamond will make the user careful to collect them in time and not to lose of his collected diamond in the game anymore. In real life, the executable loss apply in a workplace. For example, performance below a certain level will result being let go. First is ranging from a pep talk to moving a people off assignment as important assignments until publicly scolding them, so employee acknowledge this sense of loss and motivate them to work harder. When employee fail the performance goal and they will fully expect to be let go, manager can execute another option, which giving him a second chance. This sense of loss before convert him to a new sense of gratefulness and work harder. So this core setting up for another core, which is a core for drive 5, social influence and relatedness. So my second point is a caveat, avoiding the avoidance. One caveat using this core is user must know what they should do to prevent the undesirable event from happening. User motivated to take the desired action when they know the motivational threat and well prepared to prevent them. A good designer of the game only want user to act if it make them feel smart. If users feel confused or stupid when thinking about what to do regarding this potential threat, they will rather just dismiss it altogether instead of feeling incompetent over it. There are some game techniques in this score, which is first, Rightful Heritage, second, Evanescent Opportunities, third, countdown timers, fourth, status Quo Sloth, fifth, FOMO Punch, and lastly, the sunk cost prison. The first game technique, Rightful Heritage, is when a system first makes a user believe something rightfully belongs to them. This technique sometimes can be implemented in a simple word change. For example, there is a little pop-up widget that says, "Great, your action have earned you 500 credits." As a user click around the website, it made them earn something from hard work of clicking around the website, thus increase higher chance for him to sign up. the website. This is really useful to motivate people to take action. When people feel something is their rightful heritage, they often fight for that inheritance to the very end. So the second game technique is Evanescent Opportunities, which is an opportunity that will disappear if the user does not take the desired action immediately. For example, in a game Diablo 3, there is a monster called as Treasure Goblin. This monster will appear randomly and runs away when player being attacked. Defeating the Treasure Goblin will sometimes result in a great treasure, so player need to defeat them before they escape into portal. In a real world, every limited time offer forces user to decide whether to buy the product or lose the offer forever using this game technique. So this technique motivates user to act quickly for fear of losing a great deal. Third game technique which is a countdown timer related to the second game technique. Countdown timers is a visual display that communicates the passage of time towards a tangible event. It can introduce the start of a great opportunity or can signify the end of the opportunity. This technique ensures that a user recognizes the presence of the earlier technique. User will constantly see the window of the opportunity become narrowing, which establishes a sense of urgency in the process. This should display the smallest time interval that is appropriate instead of showing a longer interval. So fourth game technique, which is status quo sloth, is not wanting to change user behavior. It means that a game designer usually build a status quo sloth into the end-game phases of their product by developing highly engaging activity loops that allow the user to turn desired action into their habits. This is purposely reminded the player to take the desired action on a daily basis. For example, games like Division 2 mainly focusing on shooting gameplay and also looting box to search a better gear. In the endgame phase, players without exerting any mental effort will keep looting and become their habits. The reward provided from the loot box will then finally prompting player to input an investment where the player will build value for themselves when they return again via the next trigger. The fifth game technique, which is a FOMO Punch, might implemented to counter the earlier status quo sloth that is working against the user. FOMO stands for the fear of missing out, and the trick is to apply this core drive egg loss and avoidance against itself. This technique can be very effective in the discovery phase of an experience when users are trying out a new experience. This technique pushes users to get out the comfort zone of or their habit from the earlier status quo sloth, and then talk about missing out a huge opportunities for the user to not try something new and get a good achievement. And lastly is the sixth game technique, which is the sunk cost prison. The sunk cost prison occurs when user invests so much time into something that even when it's no longer enjoyable, user continue to commit the desired action because user don't want to feel the loss of giving up on everything. For example, a game is played for a long time and it begins to become boring and meaningless. But users keep playing that because users do not want to feel the pain of losing all the investment toward the game. Game like PUBG or PlayerUnknown Battleground Mobile is a good example for this technique. People tend to spend money, a lots of money, only for the cosmetic and beautiful gear, while the gameplay is still repetitive, which is a goal to become a last man standing in the game. Thus, having a lot of investment in the game, player will usually come back to play the game, no matter what. Facebook also portrays this technique as some users not necessarily use Facebook anymore, but they refuse to deactivate their account because they still can use it to search for their friends and looking back at all the virtual goods and accumulated in the account. So that's all from me. Thank you very much.